Everybody, happy Friday. Okay, so we're still continuing with factoring and we're going to practice this next week too. Be planning though for a test. Our test is either going to be Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Thursday. I think we're going to end up doing the test on Thursday right before we get out. We have a 4-day weekend next weekend, so awesome. Okay, so on Canvas today, so what we're doing is bottom of the modules page. So we practiced step 1. Hopefully, if you haven't completed that X ticket, make sure you get that turned in. I'm going to put that in the grade book soon. Step 1 and 2 is what we practiced yesterday. Remember, we filled out the X, we found the magic combo numbers, and we filled in the box. Today, we're going to put it all together, and we're going to practice all 3 steps together. So let me bring up my, let me actually bring this up. Let me show you guys this. Hopefully, this is unlocked so I can bring it up. Yes. Okay. If this looks familiar, it should. Guys, these are the exact same problems that I gave you yesterday that we were working on. So if you completed all of this step and filling in the box, now all we want to practice today is finding the outside of the box. So this is what I'm going to pull up in just a minute. I'm going to go back to our notes because we've been working 2 examples in the notes, right? So now let's finish these problems off. Let's get a final answer for these 2 examples in our notes. And our notes will be complete, and then you're going to practice on your own. But guys, this is what the problems on that assignment I gave you. I went ahead and gave you a new one, and I titled it just, steps 1 through 3 practice. But it's the same page from yesterday. It's the same exact problems. I didn't change anything. You should already have all those filled in and your box filled in. So let's find the outside pieces of our box. Remember, we're looking for those 2 binomials that we originally multiplied to get the inside of our box. So let me scroll up for just a second, because what we have to use is what we did up here on day 1 when we were talking about these problems. I said we were going to factor out the GCF of the expression. That's the same thing we're going to do now with our box, but we're going to do it for each row. So you look at a row. Once you filled in your X, got your magic combo, put all the pieces from your trinomial into the box, broke apart that middle term by using the magic combo numbers. Now we find the outside of our box. So you look, okay, let me grab a color here. You look at these 2 pieces. So we're going to figure out the missing piece here. And we're going to say, what's common between 4 and 3? Is there any number that I can say 4 divides by that number and 3? Well, the only thing is a 1. What else is common between x squared and x? Do you see how both pieces have an x? Yes, they do. Guys, every time the number in front's going to change, but you should have an x sitting there. There's always an x. Okay, so now you look, and I'm going to grab a different color. We're going to figure out what's common between those 2 pieces, and we're going to put it out front here. So notice I have 8x and then 6. Okay, so down here, I'm not going to have an x because the 8x has an x in it, but there's no x sitting beside the 6. So an x is not common between these 2 pieces. Now I need to figure out what's common between 8 and 6. Well, 8 is divisible by 4, but 6 isn't divisible by 4. Okay, 8 is divisible by 2. Is 6 divisible by 2? Yes, I think that's going to be it. It's going to be a 2. Now, you have to work backwards. Think, let me grab a third color here. What would I multiply 1x by up here to get 4x squared? Well, I would have to have a 4 sitting out front because 4 times 1 would give me the 4. And then what else do you always need right here is another x, because x times x gave me the x squared in this box. So you're always going to have an x term up there. Guys, this should be familiar, right? Because when we were first given pieces like this is a different problem up here. Remember when we were first giving, I told you guys, break these pieces apart up here, like if we were going to fill in this box. And so you always would say your x and then 3 and then 2x and then the minus 4 would go down here. Well, we did always have x's sitting on those first outside corners. So this makes sense for this problem over here. So remember, we're working backwards. Okay, so now all I need to say is, oh, Well, then 1 times what up here would give me this 3. Well, 3. I got to have a 3. I don't need an x beside the 3, though, right? Because 3 times 1x is 3 x's. If I put an x by the 3, I'm going to do it. This is wrong. If I put an x over here, well, that would be x times x, and that would make this an x squared. But it's not. It's just x by itself. So you have to think backwards. I'm done. I found the outside of my pieces. So my final answer for this problem right here, now I've written a bunch of stuff up here. Let me erase some of this because we've got so much scribbling going on. So your final answer is the outside of your box. Those are the 2 original binomials that we multiplied. We had 4x, and then it's positive 3 because I didn't put a minus there, and then x plus 2. That's your final answer for this problem. Okay, let's do it again. So I've already filled in the box. We found our magic combo numbers yesterday. So here I go. Grab a different color. I'm looking for what's common between this term and this term, and I'm going to sit it right out front here. Well, they both have an x. I should have an x. Can I divide 3 and 2 by a number? Just 1. So just 1x. That's the only thing that's common. Here I go. I'm going to do it again. This piece and the 14. I'm going to put it out here. What can I divide 21 and 14 by? I'm noticing there's an x beside 21. There's no x beside 14. I am not going to bring out an x. Because this box down here, usually we just had a number sitting down there. Well, 21 is divisible by 1, 3, 7. What else? Look at the 14. That's a little bit easier. Okay, 14 is divisible by 2. I can't divide 21 by 2, so that won't work. The next thing for 14 would be 7. Okay, can I divide 21 by 7? I hope so, because otherwise it's just a 1. Yeah, I can. I can divide 21 by 7 as well. That's 7 times 3. So what's common is 7. So now you work backwards to find the pieces on top. Well, I know that I had to multiply another x up here. I wouldn't have gotten x squared in that first box. And then 1 times what gives me the 3? Got to be 3. Now I go to my other box. So in this spot, there's no x because I have the x over here. And there's just 1 in this box. So now I just need the number. 1 times what would give me 2x? Oh, well, it'd have to be 2 because 2 times 1x gives me the 2x. I'm done. There's my pieces. I have 3x, and that's a positive 2. And then I have x plus 7. So those are the 2 pieces that we originally multiplied to get the trinomial that is up here. 3x squared plus 23x plus 14. Okay, let me bring up the assignment from yesterday. This one. Okay, so remember I set up number 13. We filled in the box for 13. So now let's find our final answer for 13. One more time. Again, fill out your x, find your magic combo, fill in your box. Well, here we go. So we're going to find what's common between this piece and this piece right here. Well, let's see. We have a 2x squared and a negative 4x. So I know x is common. Remember, we always said we can pull out an x there. And guys, remember, you're always going to have an x in this box too. Every time. They're 2 x's. You need to sit them there. They're going to be there every time. Now, the coefficient in front, the number in front, is going to be different every time. Okay, so what's common between 2 and negative 4? Well, I can divide 2 by 2 and 4. Negative 4 can be divided by 2. So this must be 2. So then what would I multiply 2x by up top here to get 2? So that's where you're going to start thinking in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do this other row next. So now I have to figure out, well, I have negative 10x and 20. So what's common? Well, there's not an x common because I have negative 10x, but just 20. There's no x with 20, so there's no x common. And anytime you see a negative number in a box, you're going to bring out a negative. Whatever number you're bringing out that's common, it's going to be a negative. Well, with this one between 10 and 20, it is, oh, well, it's 10, right? Because I can divide 10 by 10 and 20 by 10. So I really need to bring out a negative 10. So anytime you have a negative sitting in your first box, you need to bring out a negative. Just make that number negative, whatever you're bringing out. Now let's multiply backwards. Have y'all figured out the first box yet up top? Yes, so 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is the 2. X times x gives me x squared. Okay, let's do the last box. We have one more piece. So 2 times what up here would give me -4. I don't need an x. Here's the x that's sitting beside the 4. So I just need a number in that top box. 2 times, well, 2 would give me 4. But 2 times +2 would give me +4. So this one must be negative to give me -4 in that box. So my answers is, I'm going to write it over here. I didn't really leave a good space for answers, but that's okay. 2x minus 10 times x minus 2. And notice I didn't write the 1 in front of the x either. There's my 2 pieces. Okay, so rewatch this video if you need to, because the only piece that we're adding today is we're finding the outside of our box. That's usually the easiest part for the students. I'm going to be honest with you. Doing this x piece over here tends to be the hard part. That's the part y'all struggle with, because most of y'all really do struggle with your multiplication facts. It's just something that in Henderson that we see a lot. Finding putting the pieces in the box and finding outside the box, you'll tend to be like, oh, this is easy, I can do this. But finding the magic combo numbers, that's why we wanted to really practice that and get good at that. So again, if you have questions, send me an email.